Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Campfire Stories. We are your hosts, professional voiceover actor Doc, professional chef Demand. We are the Doc Demand Show. Tonight, we got a story all the way from the island of Japan. It is the legend of the Inunaki village and also the Inunaki tunnel. We're going to do a twofer tonight for you guys since they are right next to each other, sort of sharing a lot of the same lore. Welcome to Campfire Stories Demand.
Hi.
Without further ado, are you ready, sir, to lead us off?
Sure am.
Interesting. The wondrous. You've already tuned up. You've already tuned up your No, you haven't. You're just now starting. So let's hear it.
The legend of the Inunaki village, nestled in the mountainous region of the Fukuoka prefect in Japan. Inunaki village.
You know what? That's fine. That's fine.
Is a place shrouded in mystery, legend, and a palpable sense of dread. Unlike the typical small Japanese villages, known for their tranquility and their traditional way of life, Inunaki has carved out a reputation as a dark, ominous local, whispered about more in cautionary tales than tourist guides. You have a problem with my pronunciation, Doc?
Not at all. Not at all, sir. You have center stage. I am merely the stagehand in the background. Continue on, please.
We're going to talk about a little bit of historical context, right?
Right.
The origins.
The background.
The origins of the Inunaki village are murky, lost in the mists of time, and the reluctance of the living delve too deeply into its past. It's said that during the Meiji period, this village resisted the modernization and centralization efforts of the government, clinging to its ancient customs and laws. This defiance might have contributed to isolation and the peculiar legends that surround it.
So basically what we're talking about here is an ancient, I don't want to call it ancient village, but a very, very old village. The Meiji period was like 1800s Japan, right?
They were just like too old and too stubborn.
I mean, basically, you know how the Japanese are, dude. They don't like change, and evidently this specific village was even more resistant to change than the whole of Japan. In fact, some people say that it goes back all the way to like the Edo period, which, if I'm not mistaken, is like the 1600s or the 1700s. Yeah, like so we're talking about. Yes, a period where that they wanted to preserve their ancient culture, ancient ways, but it gets more ominous as we read on and as you study more and more about the specific village, as it were.
Let's talk about some of the signs, or couple signs you might see.
On your way to the village?
On your way to the village, that is correct. Visitors, or rather those who dare to approach, are greeted by two ominous signs at the village entrance. One of them reads, "The laws of Japan do not apply here." The other one reads, "Anyone who enters cannot leave."
I mean, all right. You're traveling a mountainous road in Japan, and you read this sign. Are you going forward or are you turning back?
I'm already
That's all I want to know. You're already in? You're all the way in?
Brother, if my fat booty travels all the way to Japan, and like I'm going to assume these signs aren't placed at the beginning of the trail. Right? They're placed at the village entrance, which is far away from like the start of the trail.
That's one of the questions, right? Like I don't have any photographs or pictures of the signs. So, I mean, that's sort of the question, right? How far away are they? I mean, I tend to agree with you. It's probably like near the entrance to the village, or maybe a little further away to kind of ward people away, right?
go. Got a picture up of what is the temple of sorts, I believe.
I mean, we could talk about that in a minute. Yeah,
In a
yeah,
minute?
these are
All right.
some abandoned areas. Yeah,
Abandoned areas. Okay. I'm gonna leave it up on the screen unless you have anything else you
yeah.
want to add.
There should be a picture of a sign somewhere, but an actual
Oh,
sign.
boom! Sign.
I mean, there it is. This is actually the real one that's in that area. So okay,
Oh,
yeah,
so
go
there's
ahead
a
and
real
continue.
sign that says like
This
all
one's
ye into
yeah, this
abandoned hope.
one's I mean, not that. This one basically, I don't know if someone wants to translate what this says. This is basically saying that this area, like in this mountainous area, like Inunaki Yama is like this whole encompassing this entire area. This village, however, sort of remains like Shangri-La almost, sort of a mystery. Like no one can really find it as of, this current
Wait, the
date. Or
village?
perhaps yeah, the village itself of what we're about to read because it gets worse and more ominous
Oh,
like as we continue. So this sign is not the sign in question. That sign is also sort of lost in the annals of time, but we'll get into that shortly. But yes, please continue on with the story.
so legends speak of the Inunaki being cursed due to the villagers' engagement, dark rituals, and possibly human sacrifices to appease malevolent spirits to maintain their independence from the outside world. Some stories suggest that the village was a place where the boundaries between the living and the dead were thin, where the spirits of those wronged or sacrificed still roam, seeking retribution or peace. The main legend involves the tale of a young couple whose vehicle mysteriously breaks down near the village. Ignoring the ominous signs, and upon entering the village seeking aid, they meet an old man on the path who murders them with a rusty old sickle.
I mean, that's how that's how the legend goes. For all intents and purposes, this couple is murdered by a crazy old man. And I mean, hey, the laws don't apply, so I guess he gets away with it, right? Like, what are the Japanese police going to do? They're defenseless to man. They're
Yeah,
defenseless against the spirits
I
and
mean,
the insane.
I'll
You
start
know,
loading like salt buckshot in my gun or something.
this is in America. This is in the Appalachian Trail, man.
Well,
All right, this
I'm
is
thank God I'm American. All I gotta
you
say.
know some people some people sort of said that there were villages back in the day that sort of were more resistant than others to it sort of integrate into the modern age as it were, and that there was a possibility that at some point in the past the Japanese government was just like this is just too much trouble to try to deal with, right? Especially when you deal with mountainous areas. Obviously, we have places like that in America too. I mean, I basically live in one of those areas, and I
Mhm.
mean, so do you, right? I mean, so like America itself, we had these conquered lands, right? That the British and the French and a lot of European nations conquered. But I mean, did they own every single bit of the territory? Well, like, no, like they didn't own it. And there were savages, natives, people that wanted to do whatever they wanted to do back in the day. And that kind of just subjugating them was sort of an out and out impossibility, right? Like, how do you go to a mountain where I live or a swamp, right, where you live, and conquer people you can't find? They're too far
In the
spread out
swamp.
potentially, dude. Yeah, like you don't want to. You don't. It's logistically it's difficult to control
Gotta drain the
all
swamp.
of. all
Head down the
right.
mountains with the side of your hand.
Yeah, and so you get in a situation where it's easier just to leave certain groups of people alone, right?
Yeah,
So the
100%.
idea of a potential village like this existing, not out of the realm of possibility, pretty believable if if you're asking me. So, I mean, that's just my 2 cents. I've seen people say that in interviews and whatnot
I mean,
across this area and land.
kind of have the same thing, right? We have the Amish, who've rejected most technology. Isn't this
Right?
just like a mirror of the Amish, but more intense,
Murderous.
more murderous? I mean, the Amish might be murderous too. You don't know that,
You don't know. I mean, if you disappear into the butter churner, who's gonna know, man?
right?
Right? I mean, good point. Very good point. There's got to be murderers that are
They,
Amish.
dude,
What if there's
if
an
they
Amish
dude,
serial killer, dude?
if they murdered me, they'd have like butter for years.
They'd have the fattiest, most delicious butter they've ever had, dude.
Dude,
Been marinating,
finger licking good.
marinating.
That's how they make their money. Is they sell their own people back to the Americans.
No. You're buying the Amish are selling Soylent green butter.
Oh,
No.
oh.
Suji, you're in timeout. Somebody time Suji out for 30 seconds.
Sue just said, mm.
She's
She wants some of that
Let's keep
human
going,
butter.
man. Let's keep going. She's pissing me off.
It is funny. In contemporary times, Inunaki village has become somewhat of an urban legend, with few brave souls venturing to see if the tales hold any truth. Those who claim to have visited speak of an eerie silence, of buildings that seem frozen in time, and of an unsettling feeling of being watched. Some reports include ghostly apparitions, sightings of these spectral figures, particularly a woman with a mutilated face, believed to be a warning or a victim of the village's dark past. Unnatural sounds, the howling of dogs, or otherworldly noises that seem to come from nowhere and yet everywhere at the same time. The final modern encounter that people recently experienced was time distortion. Some recount experiences where time feels altered, with moments stretching into hours or feeling like they've looped back to the beginning of their visit. I'm just
I'm talking. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, what if the veil of reality is like thin here, right? I think a funny sort of anecdotal thing is I've seen it translated a couple of different ways, but Inunaki Village means like howling village or howling dog village, something along those lines. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen it translated both ways in my research. So yeah, it's important to note that a lot of the photographs you're seeing are abandoned villages in Japan, but none of these that Demand and I were able to find are of the actual Inunaki village, as it appears to simply be an urban legend, or as of now, unfound or hidden to reality. Yes, as Metal Gear Greed said, yes, you cannot find pictures of the village. So they say, because the actual truth of the Inunaki village, says many people, is that the actual village was drowned
really.
into, yes, sort of that same thing kind of happened where I live. I actually live in Harrison, but there's an old village that's under the water near where I live, like an old village.
How?
And sometimes because the Chickamauga Dam here, when it was built, it flooded this entire area. So it made the
Oh.
Lake Chickamauga, which didn't exist. And the same thing happened to Inunaki Village, some people say. In that area, when Inunaki Dam was built, it was completely flooded. Yes, correct. Metal Gear Tennessee, TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, was responsible for that. That's why we have cheap power a lot of times in this area of Tennessee, because we have the hydroelectric power plant and also the nuclear power plant, Sequoia, gives us cheap electricity. So evidently, the Inunaki village was potentially buried, or should I say, drowned in water. And a
How
lot of
though?
people
Because if
say
it's on a
that
mountainside.
well, that's the original village. They said, people say, was in and around that area. The actual historic village, not the one of legend that treads between the line of the spiritual realm, right? And a lot of others say that they were integrated into the nearby city. I don't have the name of the city, but there's another city in and around the area where a lot of the people had evidently sort of immigrated to, and it still exists. You can go to this city to this very day. I don't. Somebody can correct me in the comments section. So the actual historical Inunaki village is under the water. The thing about it is strange things still happen to this very day in and around that area, which is why the people that live there, yeah, Yoshikawa Village. Thank you very much.
Yoshikawa.
Or Yoshikawa City. Yeah, I believe that's it. And so in that area, yeah, it's an actual city. You can still go there. A lot of the village sort of immigrated or moved to that area, which was close, and it ended up being a place where the majority of those villagers that did live in that area in the 1800s and early 1900s moved to. But again, it sort of doesn't explain a lot of some of the mysterious things that happen there. If you talk to the people in that region, they'll definitely tell you not to go into the area where the Inunaki tunnel is located. And I'm not sure how much you have left on your research demand, but let me pull up.
I believe I am balls deep
You have
in the
reached-
tunnel.
Okay,
Some might even say
Excellent.
I've reached a impasse.
An impasse, right? So during this time, or excuse me, after the time that the dam in and around the dam was built, stories still continued about the village, right? So even though the actual historical village is indeed deep underwater now, the stories of the village didn't disappear. And it's strangely and oddly connected to an old tunnel, which has since been sealed and condemned for various different reasons, even though, to my knowledge, it's still in good working order. The tunnel is still fine. It works. There's no structural integrity issues, but it is sealed with concrete blocks. And there are stories and actual historic proof of murders, um, horrible car accidents, disappearances, bodies showing up in and around this area.
You move the blocks? Like start taking the blocks down?
I mean, I sent you a picture. If you want to pull it up, we can talk about it actually. And we're talking about, so the man gave us sort of the backstory here, the legend of the Inunaki village.
Why we could climb over that?
It's a little more bricked up than that now. It is Dr. Man Show bricked up. So located in the how did you pronounce it?
Fuck you,
I don't
Akoa.
want to. Located in the Fukuoka Prefecture, Japan. This tunnel intertwines with broader myths surrounding the Inunaki village, contributing to a tapestry of eerie and supernatural tales. And we have those tales here. It wouldn't be campfire stories if we didn't talk about them. The Inunaki tunnel, often referred to as Old Inunaki Tunnel, to distinguish it from a newer one built nearby, is part of the Inunaki Mountain Pass. The tunnel itself is old and it is abandoned, no longer in use for vehicular traffic due to the construction of the new tunnel. Again, to my knowledge and my research, there's nothing wrong with the tunnel. It just simply fell out of favor and out of use. Yet they still saw fit to seal the tunnel itself. Um, its isolation, combined with the already ominous reputation of the Inunaki village, may have had something to do with that situation. Some backstory, of course. The area around Inunaki, including the tunnel, is said to be cursed, stemming from the story of the village, which Demand simply read out with his eloquence.
Hmm.
And it's, of course, the village's rejection of modern laws, and of course, it's engaging in dark practices. So, let me pause 1 second here, Demand,
Yep.
as Metal Gear Greed so aptly pointed out, and as you can find in your research online, Inunaki Village was buried under the water. So, why seal this tunnel? Why warn people away from this area? Why take all of these precautions to make sure no one comes in and around this area? Well, the curse with this tunnel, this village, this area is believed to manifest unfortunate events and hauntings. As I said before, in 1988, a well documented event, possibly the most famous, adds to this tunnel's grim lore. And it, of course, is the murder of Umeyama Koichi in 1988, where he was reportedly driving through the tunnel and was a victim of a carjacking gone wrong. The youths, said to be under some sort of influence, whether you call it a demon, some sort of spiritual entity, evidently found it prudent to drag the man screaming from his car inside the tunnel and set him on fire
What?
using gasoline. The youths, this group of youths, were sentenced, of course, to life in prison for their malevolent activity. There are other accounts of ghostly and paranormal activities as well with and around the tunnel. Reports people seeing ghostly figures, hearing unexplained sounds in, around, and within the tunnel, experiencing feelings of dread or being watched. A common apparition described of that of a woman with a mutilated face, believed to be a victim of the village's dark past, was and is often reported in this area. Oftentimes by the YouTubers or various people that decide to go into this area. You can show that picture. Yeah, I believe you already threw it up there if you want. You can throw that one. While more associated with the village, the infamous sign at the entrance of the Inunaki stating, "The laws of Japan do not apply here, and anyone who enters cannot leave." So, some say that have visited the village in and around this area, which of course does again contradict to what we believe or know about this area. The village is again supposed to be underwater. There's also another legend that there's a mysterious telephone box circa the 1970s, 1980s, that if you call, the village answers,
What?
and you were brought to the village entrance. Of course, you're never allowed to leave alive.
I'm 6'5", brother. I wish. I've seen the average height of Japanese.
There are other actual documented cases. Again, as I mentioned before, bodies of missing women turn up. Skeletal remains have been found in and around this tunnel and this area. Some tales speak of distortions of time, as Demand mentioned, people being trapped in a loop when they pass in and around and near the tunnel. And of course, this aligns with the broader narrative of what Demand read with the Inunaki village, where time seems to even stand still or behave erratically. And I'm just reminded, Demand, of Shangri-La, right? You might know the myth of Shangri-La, right? in the mountains somewhere, I believe in China. There's this like mystical, magical city that can only be accessed. What is it? Every 7, 12 years? I can't remember
Something like
exactly
that.
what it is.
That was every
We need
century.
to go in. Yes, maybe it's every century, right? And you like when I was a kid, I always wondered, right? Like if if there are other dimensions, right? And every week we get an article that science is coming closer and closer to proving this to be the case. And if this is the case, then why couldn't there be thin veils to other dimensions where we are now in our dimension, in our time, in our space? I just wonder, right?
It's true, Duck. Did you hear
Just
about
wonder.
the priest opening up the gates, the Pope?
No.
That's another campfire story, baby. But just give me a little
Give me the highlights, dude.
just to give you a little
Give me
lick. Essentially,
give me
the
a little
Pope is
taste.
opening up 3 or 4 gates, and they don't know where it goes. Supposedly, it's like gates to like welcome angels in, but
I'm sure it is.
yep.
Remember, the devil was an angel too. Nice. Re- really nice.
Yeah, just thought out there, everyone. The Pope is opening up gates.
Right or wrong, whether you believe in any of this or not, the legend does serve as a cautionary tale. Locals and those familiar with these stories often warn against visiting or going anywhere near the village or the tunnels. Again, supposedly underwater. Yet the locals will tell you to go nowhere near the village or this area. I don't know what to tell you. Google says the Inuyaki village is buried in the water. The locals will tell you don't go looking for it. It sort of just exudes a sense of foreboding. You know what I mean? Just sort
I'll
of.
look for it.
I mean, obviously, people have gone looking for it. Local urban explorers, ghost hunters, those intrigued by Japan's darker folklore. It spawned, the idea of the village has spawned, obviously, um, numerous horror movies, manga, if you would like to search
Manga.
those. I believe the story inspired in a 2016 anime television series, The Lost Village, was inspired by this town, as well as the story of the mysterious tunnel manga by Junji Ito. So, mm-hmm.
Heart
And
attack.
I'm just saying, it's an interesting find. I mean, perhaps we need to go and look for ourselves, demand. What might we find? Well, I think some people have gone looking for it already. I don't know what they've found, but
I got video.
why don't we go and look, demand? Yeah, let's see. Would y'all like to watch a video? I'll link it in Discord for those of you who want to watch the video them yourselves. Maybe you don't want to watch it
Uh,
with us. Maybe this is a little too much for you, but the man's got a little something something for you.
I do.
Let's see what we can find. And
Let
demand, you can
me
play that whenever you're ready.
let me go ahead and
You have
stream
to
that
switch it.
in Discord real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heading demand. Hi. It's pasta man. How you doing? You doing good? Oh, I did. Make sure you drink water. Go ahead and stop right now. Stop what you're doing. Drink some water real quick.
Drink some water, demand. Thank you very much.
Thank you, editing demand. Now, without further ado, hitting it.
Let's hit it.
Good morning. Today we're gonna hike to one of Japan's top 3 haunted spots. It's called Inunaki Tunnel. I'm at Inunaki Dam. There is Mount Inunaki.
And the Fukuoka province.
Akukua.
There's the dam. The village is
Here's the
beneath the
trailhead.
lake, demand.
Looks like it's pretty dark and straight up. Should take about an hour to get to the top. I'm a little bit uneasy about this. I heard there's a lot of wild boar in the forest here, but let's see how we go.
I heard there's a lot of ghosts in there.
And goblins.
That's what I
Path is
heard.
not so clear, so you gotta look out for these pink ribbons on the trees.
Wait, what? What do the pink ribbons mean? I don't hike.
Walk
They
at
mean
your own
death.
risk.
See?
Oh.
Inunaki means dog, animal cry. No, hell no, dude.
5 more minutes. This last part is steep.
Hold on.
And
Hold
on
on.
your herd, there's Logan Paul roaming the.
Hold on. I just want to let you know, this guy had to walk all the way up there to take this shot, and then all the way back down, and then all the way back up again.
Stop to get his camera. Stop ruining this. Now wait a minute. He probably has somebody with him. Surely. You think he's alone? Is he foolish
5
enough to
more
go here
minutes.
He's
alone?
because he's holding his own camera.
This last part is steep.
Oh my god, dude.
That part's steep. What part? The part that's infested with trees?
Yeah, trees and ghosts. No. Inuyakiyama Summit.
This
Is
is
that the
it.
summit, man?
Where's the
I
tunnel?
don't like this.
Oh, he's definitely alone.
He's headed there. Oh, he's 100% alone. He's dead. This is a dead man. This is a snuff film.
What's great about hiking
Thanks, you
these
do.
unpopular trails is you get the whole mountain to yourself.
He's got a doppelganger. you can literally see the split
Okay,
screen.
it's time to find this tunnel. Let's get cracking.
Here's where he dies, man.
Ready?
So we
Chat's
came
going
up
off.
this way, but we're gonna go down
Right, definitely.
this way.
How are you gonna carry
Looks the
me?
same.
Like,
So far,
Oh,
no
he's-
deer, but no wild boar.
bro, he's experiencing time dilation. He said both directions looked like they were the same way.
That's cool.
This is not cool.
Yeah, fire pit.
What is this?
Big fire pit. This said.
It's an
But this
ancient
tree
fire
is
pit. A
Blue.
sacrificial pit.
It's a blue tree.
The spirit can have that tree.
He just dies.
My first slip today.
My first slip today. Hope it's your last, big man.
You didn't see
The
that,
next
did
one
you?
he's gonna slip into hell, where he's gonna get murdered by ancient Japanese.
Why don't you just
Well,
go the
we
road?
picked the road.
I don't know. Good point.
That's the end of the trail.
You
but
could have
of
just
course
took
we're
the
not done
road.
yet.
Brother.
I believe we go.
Are we even
We'll just drive
are we
there,
being
dude.
catfish?
This way.
Are we just watching some dude hike?
Let's find this tunnel.
He's looking for the village, I guess.
Yeah, but like
It's somewhere. It's supposed to be like a small, unnoticeable path near the tunnel. Is where the village, the entrance to the village, is supposed to be located. Maybe he finds it.
I think this is it.
oh,
He found it.
oh, it's bricked up.
It's completely bricked
that's a
up. It's more
one-car
bricked up
tunnel.
than. Yeah, it's old. That's why it's old in Inunaki. I'm done. I'm done. Cut it off, man. Shut it down. We're going.
We're going.
We're going, man. You and me. Let's go to Inunaki Tunnel.
I'm with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Campfire Stories.